What up, though? Your boy Meech, aka the Siage Saint. Hope everyone's doing well. Time for another fragrance video. And as we approach the end of 2024, we are going to start putting together some of our best of lists. And this is really, I guess, the second, technically, of this type of video. I did a short recently where I talked about the most complimented fragrances that I wore in 2024. If you missed that, go ahead and check that out. But today, we are going to talk about the top 10 fragrances that I purchased in 2024 on the designer niche side. There'll be a video later where I talk about the clones or inspired by, but today we're focusing solely on designer and niche. So 10 fragrances that really stood out that I purchased this year, plus 2 honorable mentions. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, the first honorable mention we're going to talk about is from the house of Mercedes-Benz. This is Mercedes-Benz Select Night. And this fragrance was really a pleasant surprise for me this year. It's a warm, sweet, vanillic fragrance. It has a lot of similarities to Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. Not as sweet, but a very sexy, alluring evening fragrance, particularly for the cold weather months. I really like this fragrance. Extremely affordable too. 100 ml bottles on fragrance discounters run about $40 to $45. So I think that is a great price considering how good this fragrance is. It's a compliment getter. It's sexy too. Very alluring. You know, if you're cuddling up with somebody, this is definitely one that you want to go with. One of the best buys this year for sure. Mercedes-Benz Select Night. All right, next up is a fragrance that I think is one of the most pleasant smelling fragrances in my entire collection. An absolute banger, particularly for the warm weather months. We're talking about John Varvatos Artisan Pure, and this is the second honorable mention here on today's list. This fragrance is just so clean, fresh, citric. It's aromatic. You get a lot of aromatics in this fragrance. It just kind of smells like the springtime. It definitely gives me that type of vibe. Absolutely love this fragrance. Of course, people critique John Varvatos fragrances for its lack in the longevity department. I'm not a big stickler for that. This is definitely one that you can overspray or reapply if necessary. Definitely a great buy in 2024. Again, this is John Varvatos Artisan Pure. All right, getting into the top 10, we're going to start first with a rack store find. I actually purchased this fragrance just a few weeks ago, actually right before Thanksgiving, actually, from Burlington for $20. This is a fragrance that is a part of Banana Republic's Icon line. This is Dark Cherry and Amber, and I really, really like this fragrance. It does remind you a bit of a fragrance like French Defense by Mind Games. I'm not just saying that because it has cherry in it. It actually does have some similarities to that fragrance. I own a clone of French Defense by Yom and Leo called Basic Instinct, and when I do a side-by-side comparison, there are definitely similarities. They come even closer as the fragrances dry down, but this is a candied, sweet cherry note. You get some floral aspects. Freesia is in here as well, and then that amber woody dry down. Great fragrance considering the price. I'm a huge fan of the Icon line. 78 Vintage Green is my favorite, but this is probably number 2 now. This is jumped Tobacco and Tonka Bean for sure. Big fan of this one. Great buy this year. Dark Cherry and Amber by Banana Republic. All right, coming in at the number 9 spot, we have a very versatile iris-centric fragrance. We're talking about Armani Code Parfum. This is a fragrance that I do have to be a little bit careful kind of where I spray this because it is sometimes headache inducing for me, but I like iris fragrances and I like this fragrance. It's woody, it's aromatic. You get the fresh, clean iris. There's a bit of a powdery type of vibe with this fragrance as well, but this is one that could very well be a signature scent for you. You can kind of wear it, I would say 3 seasons at least, maybe not on the hottest of summer days, but definitely fall, winter, and spring. This definitely works. Great find this year. Actually, really not a find. I've always known about it, but great pickup this year. Definitely one of the more versatile iris fragrances in my collection, Armani Code Parfum. All right, coming in at the number 8 spot is a fragrance that I really like. I'm a fan of the Mont Blanc Legend line, and Mont Blanc Legend Blue was definitely a great pickup in 2024. And this is actually a 2024 release as well. This fragrance actually came out this year. So just like the Mont Blanc Legend, Eau de Parfum and EDT, you kind of get that Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce or Parfums de Marly Percival type of vibe. They definitely have some similarities there. I initially thought this would actually be kind of like maybe like a blue fragrance take on that DNA. You do get a little bit of that, but this is actually more green to me than it is blue. Definitely get a lot of the aromatics. The mint is really a standout note here. And this is also a bit mossy as well. Really like this fragrance. Longevity is just so, kind of 4 to 6 hours. I could be going nose blind to it, but I do like this pickup. I just have this little 30 ml. You can get like 100 ml bottles on discounters for like $50. So that is a great deal. This is a good versatile fragrance. Could definitely wear this one every day for sure. Mont Blanc Legend Blue. All right, I never thought I would own any version of this fragrance again, but after smelling the parfum and getting a deal from a Facebook seller, I had to go ahead and grab it because I do like this fragrance a lot. Coming in at number 7, we have Dior Sauvage Parfum. And this is just a refined take on that original Dior Sauvage EDT. Definitely not as, raw, definitely not as in your face, not as screechy. I really like this fragrance a lot. Definitely a versatile wear. Definitely, again, more refined take. It is, still not, it's spicy, but maybe not as spicy as other flankers of the fragrance. You get that blue fragrance type of vibe. This is just a fragrance. You can dress it up, dress it down, wear it anytime, any place, any occasion. Great pickup for sure this year. This is Dior Sauvage Parfum. All right, at the number 6 spot is definitely a fragrance that surprised me a bit. I only bought this fragrance because I got it for $50, 100 ml bottle on Macy's website. This was on sale several weeks back, but now that I have it, I really like it. We're talking about Wanted by Night Eau de Parfum by Azzaro. And this is a fragrance when I want to, go out, have a good time, have some fun. Maybe it's a more playful style of, outing, hanging out with friends, bar, club. I don't club a lot, but, if that scenario ever presented itself, this is a fragrance that I would definitely consider. It has like a great balance of being kind of, like I said, youthful and playful. It's fruity, it's sweet. You get a little bit of like cinnamon in here, so it has a bit of a spicy vibe to it as well. But then it has some maturity and depth because you get some leather and tobacco nuances as it dries down. Even with that, though, I still think this is a fragrance that maybe appeals to all ages. I really like this fragrance. 12 hours in the longevity department the last time I wore it. So this is a beast of a performer as well. Big fan of this one. The 6th best fragrance that I bought on the designer niche side in 2024, Wanted by Night Eau de Parfum by Azzaro. All right, let's get into the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is probably the fragrance that I talked about the most during the fall. I purchased this fragrance in August. I spent a lot of time with it. I wore it a lot, probably between August and October. It made several, fragrance rotation lists. I recently, over the last few weeks, just posted a full review on the fragrance. We are talking about Amberful by Mancera, and I am a big fan of this fragrance. This is another 2024 release. Like Mont Blanc Legend Blue, this fragrance actually released this year. So the question is, or the question that is often debated in FragCom, is whether or not this fragrance smells like Ganymede. I think that it does, particularly because it has that kind of salty, rock salt, mineralic type of vibe at the top. This is definitely more citric, kind of brighter than a fragrance like Ganymede, but you definitely get those vibes. I also get kind of like a Parfums de Marly greenly type of feel with this fragrance as well, because that fragrance kind of has like almost like a sour type of feel to it, and you get a little bit of that with Amberful. With a name like Amberful, you would think that it is full of amber. It has amber nuances, but I would probably describe this more as a citric, woody fragrance. Amber plays a role, but not like the main player in the fragrance. But this is a great pickup in 2024. As I stated, I talked about it quite a bit, particularly in the early fall months. Really glad this is in my collection again. This is Amberful by Mancera. All right, talking about fragrances that smell like Ganymede. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have Bois Imperial by Essential Parfums. This is a fragrance that is perfumed by Quentin Biche, who also perfumed, you guessed it, Ganymede. So this fragrance actually probably smells a bit closer to Ganymede than Amberful does. Definitely because it is not as citric. It is more like Ganymede in that it is kind of a woody, vetiver based fragrance. You do get kind of a mineralic type of vibe, a saltiness, if you will, at the top, but this is just, man, so elegant and classy. Just a woody vetiver based fragrance. I'm learning that I am a big fan of vetiver based fragrances, and this is just one that is outstanding. It's already number 4 on the list of best buys this year, and I got this fragrance, I think it was delivered to my house on Black Friday, so I bought it, maybe a little bit before that. But this was definitely an outstanding pickup. I'm a big fan of this one. Again, this is Bois Imperial by Essential Parfum. All right, at the number 3 spot is an absolute compliment beast. This fragrance was also featured in the most complimented fragrances I wore in 2024. We are talking about Versace Eros Flame. This was such a great pickup for me this year. I initially smelled this fragrance. I was on a trip back in the summer. I went to Chicago for the weekend, and I went to Sephora downtown Chicago, which that is a huge Sephora, the biggest one I've ever been in. And I smelled this fragrance and I was like, I have to buy this when I get home. And I did. It is wonderful, man. I really like this. That blood orange on the top is so great. The spice, the vanillic and woody dry down. This is a huge compliment magnet, compliment beast. It's just one of those ones. Again, fun nights out, date nights even, things of that nature. This is definitely going to work. Big time compliment getter and a great purchase for me in 2024, Versace Eros Flame. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have another Mancera fragrance. If Amberful kind of dominated my early fall talk, this fragrance definitely dominated a lot of my talk in the spring. We are talking about Vetiver Sensual by Mancera. This is a love. This is a fragrance that if you took away all of my fragrances and I was only able to keep like 10 or 12 fragrances, this arguably would be on that list. It is just very versatile, beautiful citrus at the top, lots of citrus at the top, and then of course the vetiver dry down. This is just one, man, for daytime wear. If I'm going to work, if I'm going to lunch, brunch, doing any type of stuff, anything in the daytime, Vetiver Sensual definitely gets consideration. I'm a huge fan of this fragrance. Absolutely love it. I actually like it more than when I initially did reviews and talked about it, because now that I've had some time wearing it and experiencing the fragrance, it's an absolute love for me. This is a great purchase this year for sure. Vetiver Sensual by Mancera. All right, and the fragrance that I have deemed the best purchase for me in 2024 was also featured on my most complimented fragrances that I wore in 2024 list. It was number 1 on that list. It's number 1 for the best fragrances that I purchased on the designer niche side this year, and that fragrance is Lamar by Kajal. Kind of clashes a little bit with the studio light, but doesn't matter. This is a fantastic fragrance, beautiful fragrance, beautiful bottle, as I said in that compliment video. This is a fragrance, definitely my favorite fragrance in my collection, that features the note of rose. So back in July, I wore this fragrance my entire birthday weekend. At that time, I only had a 5 ml decant of it that I bought from Scent Split. And I did a video maybe in August where I vowed to have a full bottle of Lamar before my birthday in 2025. Well, it's not even 2025 yet, and I already have a full bottle of this. Again, you get some fruity, sweet aspects. You get that rose note. You get some spice. I think there's like cardamom and coriander in here as well. This is an outstanding scent. A date night king or queen, because it is unisex, particularly in the warm weather months. I'm a huge fan of this fragrance. It's an outstanding scent. Definitely the best fragrance that I purchased this year. Again, this is Lamar by Kajal. Well, there you have it, guys. The top 10 fragrances that I purchased on the designer niche side in 2024, plus 2 honorable mentions. What are some great fragrances that you purchased this year on the designer niche side? Feel free to throw those in the comments section. I'd love to hear about them. Be sure to check out my social media for more. Please like and subscribe on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. That will be greatly appreciated. Once again, your boy Meech, aka the CI Saint. Until next time, take care. Peace.